Okay, next on the stage we have Monica Bajaj. Monica, I'm going to bring you to the stage right away. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hello. So Monica is the VP of Engineering at Auth0. Is it Auth0 or
Odd
Auth0,
zero.
Monica?
Odd zero.
Auth0. Okay, but
Yes.
it's with the little like number right at the end, the
Yes, and
actual digit.
it's a part of Okta company.
Fantastic. Okay, we can put that in the chat so people can see it too and
Mhm.
find you today. Now, Monica is an experienced technology leader. She's very passionate about building cool products focused on SaaS, AI and NLP, storage and security industries, and she brings more than 20 years industry experience across various companies like Cisco, NetApp, Perforce, and Ultimate Software, and of course now today at Auth0. And she is an engineering leader there, and we're so happy to have her with us today. Like many of our amazing speakers that we have seen here, she also does a lot of work for Women in Technology. So she's a board member for Women in Localization, driving their tech programs, and also a board member and chief compliance officer for the larger global nonprofit organization through Women in Localization, focus on mentorship and all these different localization experiences. And there's, in fact, many more things that she's done in this realm that you can see in her full bio on the website. But Monica, for today, would love to give you the time to get right into your talk, telling us about the journey from sand dunes to Silicon Valley.
Yep. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever you are. Before I start my story, I would really like to take a huge bow for Women Tech Organization to bring in so many amazing women together on this platform together and share their stories. And I had a fortune to attend few of them this morning, and I'm totally inspired with them. And it seems like truly a powerhouse to me. I would also like to thank the audience, the participants who have joined, all the way across the world. It means a lot to get that support for all the speakers and listening to their stories. Today, I'm in front of you all and will be able to share all of my journey all the way from sand dunes of India to Silicon Valley of United States. And I can tell you, when I was putting this together, I was very nostalgic. I could not believe that I have come so far in my life. So let's jump right into it. This is the place where I come from. Why sand dunes to Silicon Valley? I was born in a city named Jodhpur in Rajasthan. And Rajasthan, for those who have not been to India, is a northwest state of India. It is famous for its desert, tourism, food, clothing, and whatnot. If you ever happen to visit India, you should definitely visit Rajasthan and Jodhpur. Although I was born here, so you can see like there are different segments which I want to show you the flavor of. This is the fort, very famous fort. This is the bazaar. And then this is another place where I grew up. And although I was born in a city named Jodhpur in Rajasthan, I grew up most of my life in the central part of India, which is known as Indore, and it's also famous for its history, education, food. However, my ties with sand dunes never ended. And because I used to spend all my summers there, the only way to get vacation was summer vacation, you go to your grandparents' place. And it was really fun. My dad used to travel a lot, so my mom took over the pretty much the responsibility of raising me and my brother. And two things were very clear in her mind: education and being independent. And these were the seeds that were planted in my life right from the day I was born, it seems like. The other forcing factor, which was really important, was making sure that my grandfather, who was my mom's dad, was a big supporter of women during those days. And I could not have been here without his support. So it was really important to show like how women empowerment happens right from the family. And then began the next journey of my life as I was growing up. Here I am. This is my high school. The first picture you see is my high school, just getting into the college. I took bio as my major and math as my minor subject. We were able to take both the subjects apparently, and I was lucky to have that. Had that not happened, I would not be here where I am today. I had no idea what I want to become in my career, except for two things. I want to be independent and I want to have a decent job. That was a little dream I had growing up. At some point, I did realize that I cannot become a doctor because I failed miserably in doing a dissection in my bio lab. The only choice I had, being a STEM major, was look into math. And I'll be totally honest here. I was good in math, but the test taking in math was nerve-wracking for me. Every time there was a test, I used to get fever. And I used to feel like I'm not doing enough. Part of it was also I was the only girl in the entire math club. And I was being challenged multiple times that am I making the right choice of doing math as a girl? And then the second part was how this math career is going to transition into engineering, which people around me were more thinking, why she's doing engineering. I was the first female engineer in my family across the board. My dad was not an engineer, my mom was not an engineer. But as a female, I was the first one. And then on top of it, it was mentioned that engineering is a hard job. Do you really want to do this strenuous and hard profession? And this is going to further impact your personality. You will not get married. All kinds of social norms were popping up. The only person who believed in me was my mom. And she was, doesn't matter what you want to become, whether you become an engineer or whether you work at a bank or whether you work at a shop, but you need to be independent and you need to be on your own feet. All these things supported me and I moved on. I got selected into engineering. And as a result of this, I pursued engineering as my career. The second picture you see is my first job as a faculty of computer science back to the same city of Sand Dunes. And I went back. This was where my career started. I was the only female in the computer science department teaching a class of guys, no girl in the class. And that was the beginning of my being a part of like the only woman in the room. And so it was really important. One thing which kept me grounded at all times is it is important to remember your roots, where you come from, and trust your wings, because without them, you will never be able to fly. The second thing happened. This is the picture. I don't have many pictures, by the way. Whatever pictures I had, the best ones I have picked to showcase, where my story lands. This is me getting a master's degree from one of the very prestigious institutes in the world, in the country as well, Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. And I did my master's there. I'm receiving a degree, and it was a very emotional moment for me. Coming to do IIT at IIT was really a big fortune for me. Then I came to United States. And this is me. Coming to United States was everyone's dream during those days. It was completely out of the norm to come to US as a single woman, especially when you are at a marriageable age. I had no support except from my family who believed in me. There were no mobile phones, no internet access. And Sending a daughter all the way miles away was not easy for my mom and my dad both. I came to US to be able to grow in my career, to follow a dream, and to be able to pave the path for the next generation of female leaders and girls, especially. And when I came to US, Silicon Valley was truly a Silicon Valley. There was nothing like Google or Facebook's existing at that point in time. They were all semiconductor industry. I started my career as a software developer at Novell. And one thing really happened was I continued to move in engineering roles. And what made me thrive was a couple of things. I was able to solve challenging problems. I was able to create things. I was able to work closely with people, understand their culture, and taking every opportunity to learn and interact in this foreign country because I was completely new. I had never taken a flight. I mean, it's hilarious, but this was my first flight, and that too international, coming from India to here. The only thing I knew up growing was work hard and everything will fall in place. It's a piece of the puzzle, though. That is not everything which brings you where you are. And during this conversation today, I'm going to share some of my stories, which will hopefully you all can relate where things come across. There is a famous saying, smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. I had my own share of struggles being a woman of color, and being a woman in engineering. There was no concept of diversity, inclusiveness ever being talked about when I was growing in my career. While some bosses did believe in me to help me grow, I had my own share of people around me who pulled me down, including my bosses. And you just have to navigate through those challenges. It never stops. Some days are good, some days are not. Some years are good, some are not. But I would like to share some stories, and they are painful stories. And I'm bringing this up today because I'm pretty sure many of you have gone through this, going through this. I had an instance, my first management role. My VP came back from India. He calls me in the room and told me, culturally, Indian women, the concept of leadership around Indian women does not exist. And I was shocked. I do understand socially during those days, many Indian women were homemakers, but there were still women who were stepping into leadership roles. When I had a confrontation with him, guess what? My job was impacted. Next day, I was moved to a different department. That story still lingers in my mind. It has been probably like 15 to 18 years back. The second story, which I would like to share, being a mother, is I was being told you have to show up at work at 8:30 a.m. every single morning. And I was like, there is no way I can do that because I have 2 kids. I need to drop them to school. And my husband used to travel quite a bit at that time. And the answer I got was, well, I have pets. I can leave them alone and they figure it out. Why don't you do that with your kids? I was in tears. I left the room and I decided I am not going to work here. Why I'm sharing these stories is it's really important that you take these incidents as a tools to challenge yourself and move forward rather than slowing you down or quitting the workplace. If I reflect back, one common theme was there. I believed in myself. There is a powerful quote by Angela Duckworth, which I really liked. If you have not read the book Grit, you should read it. I won't just have a job. I will have a calling. I will challenge myself every day. And when I get knocked down, I will get back up. I may not be the smartest person in the room, but I will strive to be the grittiest. That quote relates very close to my heart. I will walk you through 3 key things. Switching the gears, what has helped me continue to grow? And these are no secrets. I'm sure all of you have seen this. Building your personal brand. We are all living in this world of social media. Your LinkedIn profile is super, super critical because everybody looks at that. And I always put mother as the first one because being a mother has taught me so many things. The other things are clarity, consistency, and credibility. And these are really important because clarity in the purpose and the reason for what we do. Your personal brand should send a clear message of what you stand for. So take some time in order to define your passions, in order to define your beliefs, your values, your motivators, and most importantly, be unapologetically who you are. You might have heard from so many speakers today, be yourself, and that's really, really important. Second thing is consistency. Be who you are online or offline. Everywhere when you interact with people, both in person and remotely, it's a touch point with your brand, and that's really, really important. Credibility. Use your personal brand's presence to build your credibility with your audience. It's really important. And sometimes you're probably nervous to share your core beliefs with your professional audience, but I can tell you, over the years, I've realized that being a real person, being authentic, it helps a believability and it helps build trust and helps your brand across the board. The second thing which helped me is the value of giving. We all are so fortunate, so blessed. So do take time to give back. It will create a stronger and a thriving community around you. Value of giving back to the community always creates a sense of purpose. And I'm sure during COVID time, each of us have gotten that opportunity to self-reflect, rediscover ourselves. And research has shown that giving back increases happiness, decreases depression, and helps in improving mental and physical health. That's one thing. Second is it helps you build connections. And I was able to do this through 2 different organizations, apart from other ones which I work for. Women in Localization helped me connect with so many amazing women leaders across the world from different cultures, how they interact, how they deal with their challenges. Boy Scouts, I'm a scout mom, and teaching kids how to just learn the business problems, how to be able to give back to the community at such a young age. It was truly a blessing. Mentorship has been truly a blessing. I have learned so much during my mentorship interactions. So it's really, really important. The third thing which I want to call out here is invest in yourself. It's really important to invest in yourself. And I always come across with 3 things: love yourself, lead yourself, and be yourself. Love yourself first because you will be spending the rest of your life with that person. That's your longest commitment. Lead yourself because if you cannot stand up or promote yourself, nobody else will do for you. So you have to be in the forefront. Have you exercised forgiveness on yourself? That's really important as well. Make sure you embrace your failures with love and care, because every failure is a next opportunity. And the third one is be yourself. No matter what, be passionate about who you are. Be your self-authentic person. And that's really the key to success, because you'll be honest to yourself. I will leave you with the last takeaway is to define yourself. Women is a symbol of power, one of the finest and the most beautiful creation in the world, without whom no creation is possible. Remember, being a woman, you can do so much. And it's really important to define yourself. As a woman, we juggle with multiple roles since we are born as a daughter, girl, mother, daughter-in-law, and different cultures work differently. Interesting part in this journey is that everyone is trying to define and transform you, what you should be, what you should not be, how you should dress up, you should not dress up like this, all those things. I had my own share in this journey, personally and professionally, but where I had to take some uncomfortable steps according to this, against the social norms, and do what the right thing is. So if you see this quote, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So kudos to you all for making that happen. And it's really, really important that there are three key takeaways I would leave you all with. Be comfortable in an uncomfortable situation and embrace those challenges as opportunities, not as failures. Take time to invest in yourself, because that is really, really important, more so in this time, at personal level and at professional level. And the third one is, it is really the time to take the control of your life in your hands and define yourself. With that, I would like to thank you all for tuning in today and allowing me to share the journey of my life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. It was a pleasure having you here. Lots of comments for you to kind of follow up on, too. People that want to meet you, people that want to connect, and certainly saying that satisfaction of being able to help by going above and beyond is something that people are kind of relating to in the chat here right now as well.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
It's truly an honor. Thank you.